You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
We can deport violent, illegal criminals. That makes a lot of sense.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
Obama was not the president for this system.
Do you think that House Democrats and Senate Democrats should try to cooperate with Donald Trump
if he tries to kick people off their health insurance? We're going to have a Youngstown street fight.
The American people, they voted against Hillary. They voted against this administration.
We pledge allegiance to one flag, and that flag is the American flag.
Welcome to the Abolitionists Round Table, your all-access pass to the 2017 Red, White, and Blue Conservative Revolution. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600. Now, here are your hosts, Del Marsh, Phil Starchel, and Janice Daniels.
Good morning, and this is the Abolitionist Round Table, and my name is Phil Stargell, and we are sitting in the studio, the Wham Studio in downtown Ann Arbor. And today, Del Marsh and I, the original Art of Michigan
founders, 7 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, and 7 years ago we've been here, Phil.
What is this? The 14th of...
Yes, 14th, yes.
January 2017.
Yes.
7 years.
Yes.
7 years.
Yes,
so
7 years.
And sort of the originalists. It's just you and I in studio today. The mayor is on assignment, and as usual, she'll have some. She may call in today, but. I hope she does, and give us a little update on how her New Year is going. Did you make any resolutions for this New Year?
Yeah, to win at all costs.
Yeah, I didn't make any resolutions. I don't think I have any to make. But the one thing that we have to do, and I think that the closest thing that I can say to a New Year's resolution is that we have to keep updating and upgrading the information that we put out in order to assure that there is some semblance of success with not the policies of the new incoming president, but the actual acceptance by the people that the policies that Donald Trump will do will be in the interest of the American people. And that's why it's so disheartening to see long-time Washington insiders, long-time politicians, long-time sucklers of the tit of government largesse, which the founding fathers warned us about. And these guys, I just right off the top of my head, Chuck Schumer,
yes,
John Lewis of Georgia, Barbara Lee of California. All of these people are talking about Trump is illegitimate. He's not a legitimate president. I would love to have heard what they would have said if you and I had accused Barack Obama of being an illegitimate president. Because what we did, we disagreed with him, and we expressed that disagreement. But we had facts to show that there was a legitimate reason to question whether or not he was the right person for the job, because he and his policies were against what we often
and his
call
own rhetoric, Paul Phil. His own rhetoric.
Yeah.
Remember, we last year we had a soundbite when we opened the show.
Yeah.
And Obama said, "It's my responsibility as president of the United States to fight against all negative stereotypes of Islam wherever they appear." I could not believe what I heard. And so we had to put it. I remember when me and you heard that. We said, "Dale, we have to put that in the opening of the show because people need to hear that, because just for me and you saying it, they won't just automatically believe it. But when they heard it, they heard his voice say it. That's something different."
And what did he do? What other rhetoric did he use? You remember America no longer a Christian nation?
That's right.
My goodness.
That's right.
I mean, saying those kind of things. I mean, and then what we hear from Chuck Schumer and the rest of the Democrats is that this is Trump is not going to uphold the laws of this democracy. Okay,
it's another fraudulent word, ain't it?
Yes, it's a fraudulent word, and it's about time that we got this thing straight, because it spells out in the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, Article 4, that says the American people are guaranteed a Republican form of government. Now, that don't mean Republican as the Republican Party, although that is the reason why the Republican Party it speaks of Republican Party and then republicanism. What it's about is that democracy was against all of the founding fathers on both sides of the political spectrum. The left and the right, they were against democracy as a form of government in this country, and that's why you have the electoral college.
Brilliant.
You know,
if you don't mind, I have to just say, most brilliant concept ever created by man.
Exactly right. Exactly right, and that's why we call ourselves. We call the principles of this country exceptionalism. And then we heard, again, Obama, what did he say? Well, we're no more exceptional than Greece.
That's right.
I mean, you know, and at the time, Greece was about to fall apart because of their loose monetary policies. And it's the same thing happening here. We have loose monetary policies and the country's going straight to heck in a handbasket. So one of the things that we're going to start what I said about a little bit of understanding, trying to get more understanding of what it is and what the policies are in this country and what they used to be and what they should be today and what we should be striving to return to. People have gotten this idea that because the founding fathers were white, that they were somehow not legitimate in their thought process. These men, as you said, were absolutely brilliant. They, the Democrats will tell you that the founding fathers couldn't possibly have thought about like their policy on guns. They couldn't have possibly meant what they said. You know, because look what the modern weapons, you know, how devastating they are. And if they had known that they would be that devastating, they would never have said that people could. Well, no. That weapon that they had at that time was state of the art. That was the best that there was, and it defeated the best military in the world.
That's right.
At that time.
Great.
The idea that these people weren't brilliant and they didn't foresee people like Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, and the rest of them, you know, and these people are rejecting the things that we are unique in the world in having and have had for over 200 years, and that is self-governance and the government being responsible to the people, not the people being responsible to the government. And that is the difference. That's the exceptionalism that people like Barack Obama want you and me to deny. So let's look at the first thing on our agenda this morning, and that is what soundbite did you have?
Well, I got them all listed right here.
Yeah,
for you.
here we go.
Yeah. So in any order you want.
Why don't we, Derek? Could you put up soundbite number 1, and we're going to go from there.
Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be.
Can you give us a question?
Here, hold on. Pause for a minute. Pause for a minute. Just set up the what happened here. You know, the president-elect had made a comment about this fake story that was out, this fringe story that was out, and then CNN, they picked up this fringe story and reported it. Now, let me just say this, Phil. There's a lot of fringe stories out there about Barack Obama, about Michelle Obama.
Yes.
And have I at some point wanted to pick up some of these stories? I have.
Yeah.
But I know that this is still a decent country. This is still a show of honor and honorable. And so, yeah, we don't touch anything like that. But but CNN lowered their sales. They lowered their standards by picking up a fringe story like this and reporting it. So he was upset. He was outraged.
Yes.
And I can understand it.
And wanted to portray his outrage at Donald Trump because he wants to say that because he wouldn't allow him to speak, he wouldn't allow him to continue this fake story.
That's right.
That he was some kind of a fascist. That's the intent of that whole thing.
Yeah. So, all right, go ahead, Derek. You can finish.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
Go ahead.
can you state categorically that nobody... No, Mr. President-elect, that's not appropriate.
Is that it? Okay.
What happened to it? He lost it? I got
No.
it back.
Okay. So when a story like that comes up, this is where before we would always have the representatives, from George Bush to George Bush the first. All of these people would go scrambling and try to get the press in line, but they would have to toe the line that the press set up. Again, it goes back to what one of the abolitionists, Milt Harris, said, that the left has the press, and so they set the rules of engagement, and they keep the Republican on defense, regardless of whether they control the presidency, the Congress, or whatever. They're constantly on the defense. We see now that Donald Trump has pushed an offense from the Republican side of the aisle, and not necessarily the Republican Party, although he has
Stay
the
separate.
head of the Republican Party as his chief of staff. So what it says is that he's trying to get the Republican Party to quit playing defense and get on offense, because that's what it's going to take.
And that's what they do. Democrats always they do something and have us react.
Yes.
We become reactionaries to everything that they do. So they lead it, and then we react. And so the way we react is how the news media report it. And that keep them in control. Right now we have a majority. We have power, but liberals today still, right now, Barack Obama still have his position till next week. they're still acting like that they are the majority, that they had a power.
Yeah.
They still they are trying to manipulate Republicans into giving up their power.
Well, and give you an example. Earlier in the month, there was a story of the press secretary.
Yes.
Was asked to comment on President-elect Trump's managing to keep Carrier from moving their Indiana manufacturing plant to Mexico.
Okay.
Now, this is more of this. They've always sent Josh out to try to spin this nonsense. But what he said was, now this is him trying to shore up the backside of Obama and the failures and cover and plaster over the failures of this administration. These people were going to take their plant out of this country and send it into another country. And we already have Mexico is our leading trade partner. Why would they have to send a company that is an American company down to Mexico in order for that company to make a profit? The reason is that the regulations and Obamacare and all of this nonsense makes it almost impossible for a company to make a profit in this country because of the high taxes and just the comic book of regulations and rules that Obama has put on.
Can
by
I make a point?
order.
Once you, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why is because it is about them making a profit, but also so that they can offer their product or service at an affordable rate to me and you.
That's exactly
to
right.
the American people.
Yeah.
So because the American people have a limit of what they feel that the markets say that particular service is worth.
Yeah.
And so you're right. They have to figure out, okay, well, since our product now is a little bit more expensive than the other products, we're going to have to. They had to make an executive decision.
Yes, exactly.
So I can understand.
And the thing is that by Mexico being our number one trading partner, they get a better deal.
Yes.
Than the companies here in this country. So what do? They go to that country. That's how come there's a trade deficit between all of the countries around the world. And they keep saying, well, you know what? If you are going to threaten tariffs on these companies, it's going to be a trade war. Well, it should have been a trade war when they made this deal. They should have been looking at that as we are at war. These people are trying
TPP?
Yeah, that and NAFTA and all the rest of them. If you look at it, and this is what Trump has said, we've got a raw deal on almost all of these things. Here we got $3 trillion sitting parked overseas because we have the highest taxes on corporations in the world, not bar none. I mean, it's oppressive. That's why those countries had that money sitting out there. That money, if it comes back to this country in the form of the executives making the decision that it's a better deal in this country to manufacture products in this country, they will come back here, and they will bring that $3 trillion with them, because there's a very, very lucrative reason for coming back here. They're only going to tax that money at 10%.
Yeah, which I can understand, and that's why they wanted some kind of guarantee before they bring that kind of money back. You're right. They don't want to turn around and bring that money back, and you tax half of it and take it away.
Yeah,
So this is and I noticed that liberals are always saying that they have this talking point, and we hear the people use this talking point from liberals all the time. Liberals use this talking point. You always want to tax the little man. This is how they do this. Yeah. You wanna give corporation a tax break, and then you tax the little man.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say this right here. corporations don't pay taxes.
That's right.
I
The
pay the
little guy
taxes.
is the one
They
that's
pay.
paying it.
I pay the tax.
Yeah.
Well, they said, well, how do I pay taxes? I'm telling you, I had a conversation with this person, and I said, well, Mr. Johnson make refrigerators. Until you buy his refrigerator, he don't make no money.
None at
When
all.
you buy his refrigerator, you believe that he should pay more tax. So what he did is he add that additional tax to the price of his refrigerator.
Exactly right.
That's all he did. So you still paid the tax.
That's right. Let's take to the lines here and go to Bruce from Grosse Pointe. Good morning, Bruce.
Morning, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Bruce.
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too.
Well, may you get everything you want this year.
And we're gonna have to fight for it.
That's right. And if you don't get everything you want, maybe you get everything you deserve.
Yeah.
But, I wanted to comment on this this idiotic painting that's hanging there in the tunnel between the Senate and House buildings there in D.C. I mean, this thing is just disgusting. What's this guy's name? Lacey Smith from St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy. And I'm talking about the painting that shows the police officers with the faces of swine on them. You know, pigs. This is just disgusting, guys.
It is.
You know, but what do you expect from a party that's been such a criminal enterprise over the past nearly 200 years? Perhaps maybe a painting should be hanging showing some of these people, these Democrats in pinstripe suits and wide-brimmed hats. You know, saying, "Nice country you got here. It'd be a shame if anything happened to it." Honest to God. You know, thank God that the House, I guess the House architect has now stepped into it and said that it's coming down because it violates code or something like that.
It is. It's indecent. Absolutely, and it shows sympathy to to that fringe leftists, these fringe leftists out there, and they want to be Democrats want to agitate Republicans. They want this civil war. They want this revolution. They want this. They're going to do whatever they can, and they trying to keep this anger and bitterness that was up there purposely to keep this anger, bitterness. They working on something towards this Friday, and that's what it is. It's all about is to delegitimize President Trump, President-elect Trump, to delegitimize the election of President-elect Trump, to delegitimize the Republican Party.
Yeah, you know, and the thing is, they're just keeping it up and keeping it up and keeping it up. Now you hear Rosie O'Donnell is calling for martial law.
Can you believe that?
Rosie O'Donnell knows doesn't know. She couldn't tell the difference between martial law and Marshall Fields. You know?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
These people are absolutely off their nut. I mean, what is she doing still here? Wasn't she going to leave the country?
Well, be honest, that's true. She did vow to, and I hope on January 20th, she and her and Samuel Jackson and the rest of them keep their word and leave. Yeah. Madonna, the rest of them. I hope they keep their word and leave.
Right.
And go to Cuba. You know, they got some nice bunkers over there for them.
Ad on TV featuring Samuel Jackson. He asks, "What's in your wallet?" You should say, "What's in your wallet, Samuel?" You probably got your passport.
Well, see, the thing is that, you know, they always talk about protecting rights. You know, look, I'm not a fan of the Confederacy. But what did they do? They went around and started digging people up and throwing them out of parks and stuff like that because of a symbol of the Confederacy flag.
Right?
What symbol is it that you can get away with depicting the law enforcement agency of this country as pigs like that, and expect to be able to just hang it up without anybody having anything to say about it? This is again the tyranny of the minority, and this is what's happened in this country. I mean, we have the minority absolutely putting us at the back of the bus and under the bus and everything else. So that's where we are today, and somebody has got to start standing up and telling these people, look, enough is enough. You done gone too far.
Yeah. Well, you know, and another thing about this whole business, this contest was they had certain rules, I guess, and one of the rules was you could not depict inflammatory subject matter.
Yeah.
Nor could you have the subjects being the subjects of current political controversy.
Yes.
You know,
Bruce,
so the rules don't
break.
apply where these people are concerned. You know that.
And thanks for your call. Thanks for calling
thanks a lot,
in.
guys.
Happy
Talk
New
to you
Year. And folks, we are going to a break. And if you'd like to get in on this conversation, that number is 734-822-1600. And we'll be back right after these messages.
You're listening to the Abolitionist Round Table, patriotic, red, white, and blue, conservative all-access radio, with your hosts, Del, Phil, and Janice. They're leading the charge and advancing the conservative revolution. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600.
Hello, I'm Milt, and this is, logically speaking, Uncensored. The shadow government of the Democrat Party is a real and present danger. On November 8, 2016, the United States was witness to an historic and phenomenal political battle, tantamount to the epic battle defined in the Bible between David and Goliath. David, in the personage of Donald Trump, was supposed to lose, and Goliath, in the personage of Hillary Clinton and her machine, was supposed to win. But what evildoers meant for ill, God meant for good. And it is this truism that allowed Trump, fighting against the odds, to be victorious. I firmly believe in the power of prayer, and I believe the prayers of millions of legal Americans were answered with the victory of Trump. But while I and millions of Americans are elated and proud about Trump's success, we must not lose sight of the fact that winning one battle does not mean the war has been won. Because the FOEs, which I pronounce as foe, is an acronym for the forces of evil, are more dangerously deranged than ever before as they mobilize their anarchists and concoct insurrectionist strategies and oppositional plans calculated to derail President Trump and circumvent the will of the people. Democrats for years have put forth the lie that people, specifically illegal immigrants, are living in the shadows. Therefore, a shadow government is a natural extension of their underground comfort zone. And one of the shadow government major underground machinations is obstructionism and personal vilifications for implementing socialist organizer Saul Alinsky's dictum of polarization, presented in his book, Rules for Radicals. And with Ali Obama, the Democrat most prominent titular leader, domiciled in Washington, D.C., and leading the never-ending fight against the United States, the malevolent intrigues and treasons being evoked by the losers, known as Democrats, is just a snapshot of what they would be doing if they had won. Therefore, we the people, emboldened with truth, must not let down our guard, thinking that evil has been vanquished. Because even though American patriots won the president battle of 2016, the goals and objectives of American haters to divide the United States, nullify Christianity, and invalidate the relevance of God remain unchanged. That is why we must fight relentlessly in 2017 to keep, enforce, and secure the victories we have won. For if we the people ignore this truth, we will reap the whirlwinds of evil retaliations against our freedoms and liberties, because the shadow government of the Democrat Party is a real and present danger. I am Milt, logically speaking, uncensored, saying, think about it.
And we are back. And thanks again a million to Milt Harris. That is cutting edge commentary. And
was it?
So folks, you know, we got to keep paying attention. We got to keep educating. We got to keep the heat on. And you know, they are in the process. It looks as if they're falling apart. That the Democrats, they're just regrouping. They're just reorganizing. They are going to come back. And if we aren't ready for them, because boy, oh boy, they do not like what happened to them in November.
And Democrats don't win or lose. Democrats, even when they lose, they still act like they still have power.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, and that's why people. This, if I could take a side note for a minute, and I let you finish your agenda. But and I noticed this is because I was looking. I had to ponder this and meditate on why are people so attracted to the Democrat Party, because they are winners.
Yes.
They have the illusion that they're winners. And even when they lose, they still act like that they're winners. They you know, for a minute they know how to flank you out. So they come back, President, oh, this is the legitimate, and we're gonna, you know, say that I'm gonna help Mr. Trump in a transition. Obama said that. A few days later, you know, they came out with one thing after another. You notice that they done came out with all these different, you know, the electorate. They tried to intimidate them. They tried to intimidate all his rallies. They tried to, then they, you know, that didn't work. And so it just kept going on. And now this story in the fake news media, now they want to ban this word. It was supposed to be a word against Fox, but now this word has blew up in CNN and the rest of them fake news. Because we have to keep calling them fake news to delegitimize them because they have misled the American people.
If nothing else, it's their undeniable tie to the Democrat Party.
Yes,
and that's why it needs to be fake.
And they keep creating this story. They keep playing the story of the Russians.
Yeah, and what it is it has to be fake news.
Yes,
because these stories are planted by Democrat operatives.
That's right.
You know, so okay, listen. Before we get to the lines, I just want to make you know, if you can't call in this morning or don't feel like calling in, you can email us at art@whamradio.com, and we will respond to your emails. And so shoot us an email, and we'll keep the conversation going, and we'll keep the education going and the learning going. And also,
go ahead, mention
our website is artofmichigan.com, and this is our fundraising month. And if you'd like to send a donation in, and or if you feel compelled to send in a donation, you know, send it to fund artofmichigan.com, and click on the donation button and send that donation over, and we would appreciate it highly. What would you want to say?
No, I was just going to say, absolutely. You know, this is for us to. You know, we have a number of things going on. This is our 7th year on radio. I want to say something. I remember, and I couldn't stand it, what Rev used to say. Remember, he used to say, well, you know, we don't take a dime at all. We don't get paid. We come and volunteer. Well, folks, I'm going to be honest with you. Phil and I and the mayor, we all are volunteers here. Everything that we get, it goes back into to continue to stay on the air, to continue to post our material on YouTube, to put our material on our website, and send out our literature too. So, but absolutely, we could use your help to continue to fight for freedom.
Okay, and thanks for that. And we're going to go to Gary from Roseville. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning.
Oh, hey,
what's up over there, Gary? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and everybody, and to Janice, wherever you are. Happy good morning and Happy New Year. Everything. I just, you know, they just voted to postpone this Obamacare repeal, which is a little disheartening, but, I know they got to make sure they've got their, their T's crossed and their I's dotted. Unlike the Democrats, they do not care. But when Obamacare was being shoved through during his first term, the Republicans had a alternative. Now all of a sudden we aren't hearing about their so-called alternative.
Gary, you were reading my mind.
The whole thing. Now they're postponing. They don't know. I don't. It's really ridiculous. The whole thing is.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Phil and I was just talking about that, Gary, during the break, that they should have an alternative right away so that the people that's already on it, so that they can go ahead and continue. They wouldn't have a lapse. They can go ahead and continue with their health care. And the longer that they delay, you're absolutely right, they're going to start losing momentum. They have to do it right away, repeal and replace it right away. And that's what Democrats wanted, to try to get as many people on it, this entitlement as they can. We know their strategy, Phil.
Well, the other thing is that I'm with you. I believe that there should have been something that they could present and explain it. But mostly, I believe this thing has to do with the funding. If you take that $1 trillion, that just under $1 trillion out of the baseline, what do you got? The Democrats don't have nothing to play with, and the Republicans also.
Yeah.
So this is why there's a problem with not having something that they could point to that this is what we're going to do this with, because what it is that it's not going to be a budget, in my estimation, like the budget for the Obama care budget, because that was, what did they do? They tried to fit $5 trillion worth of benefits into a less than $1 trillion budget for Obamacare. That's how come you got all these high deductibles and all of these other costs to the health care that so those costs won't be involved in whatever that the Republicans put forth. So that means that there's not going to be a $950 billion budget set aside for health care. It's going to be a situation where they're going to allow the markets to present what they can do something for, and then go forward from there. But the baseline is, and this is why we should not be on baseline budgeting. We should be on zero-based budgeting, where the money that is not spent this year, if it's a savings, put that money away toward the budget next year. The way it goes now, you get a 12% raise whether or not you deserve it, and that is, to me, unacceptable.
Oh, definitely, this is still crazy. What's really doesn't settle right is because I think we're going to get stuck with some kind of national socialist healthcare system to a certain extent. I mean, there's people out there that are, have no insurance whatsoever, and they have serious problems.
Well, let's hit that no insurance at all. Don't you remember when they came in with Obamacare? What was it? There was supposed to be 40 million people without health care. Am I correct? Without any health care system. Now they're talking about there's 20 million that are covered. They got coverage. Yeah. What happened to the other 20 million?
That's right.
Yeah, they looked at the price.
They looked at the price, and they didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And they thought, I might, they're giving me health care, but I still can't afford it.
You can't afford the free health care?
Flipping burgers or something. I mean, let's face it, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to help people that are just flipping burgers or they're greeters at a store somewhere who's standing there as a greeter.
Yeah.
Trying to give them health care, and it's like, they haven't accomplished nothing.
Well, the thing is that the reason I believe that they don't have a plan that they can point to is when you talk about the market, letting the market dictate some of this, that right now there's a market. Those 40 million people that were that didn't have coverage or didn't have a plan, those people were not in that equation before. Everybody, it was an 86% approval rating of the healthcare system before Obamacare. Now, that's because they said that there were 40 million people that weren't covered, didn't have any plan. So now all of this $1 trillion went to accommodate 40 million people, whereas if they'd have left the people alone at the time and then worried about the 40 million, that would have been a much better way to do that. But no, they had to get one size fits all and force everybody into it, and nobody's happy.
Right, and make the healthy people pay for the sick people.
Yes, yes.
You know, which is really obscene, the cost, of people that, want Obamacare as their plan. They don't have any problems, but we're going to sock it to them to pay for the, everybody.
So what we have to do, Gary, is make sure that we make them understand that we do want this monstrosity taken out. I mean, they're talking about people having 50% increases in their premium. Mine went from $230 a month to $700 a month. That's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. See, that's what happens. That's what government does.
Yes, sir.
People. And they don't have a clue.
Gary,
the average.
We're going to have a happy New Year this year, and we are going to keep the heat on both sides of this. We're going to tell the Democrats to shut up, and we're going to tell the Republicans, get out there and get active and do something.
Yeah. Well, we have to keep fighting, like you say, because they're relentless. They never give up.
That's exactly right. And so we have to return
back on our haunches and let the liberals.
Yep. Hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning, and we're going to get on down the road and get to the rest of these calls. Thanks again for calling. Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, we're going to line 3, and Tom from Plymouth. Good morning, Tom.
Yeah, how you doing, Del and Phil? You said you wanted some agitation, so I figured as Angry Tom, I'd call up and agitate a little bit. Hey, listen, I was going to talk about Russia, but real quick, the solution to the health care is, one, make Americans realize you're free people, and that if the government owns your health care, they own you.
That's exactly right.
And if they have Republicans, now that we got a Republican president, Republican Congress, if they would just lift the restriction that says insurers cannot compete across state lines, you watch insurance costs skyrocket downward, and everybody will be smiling and happy again. Now, let's get to Russia. That really got me mad. The whole Russian fiasco, and I can't believe these Democrats fall for this, Trump's in Russia's pie. What about Hillary Clinton giving away 20% of our uranium supply for, what, a $16 million donation to the Clinton Foundation, and then now the clown Obama is now shipping that uranium off to Iran. As well, or the Russians are. Yeah. Russians are now taking our uranium and giving it to Iran so that they can attack Israel and us. This whole country is being run by total morons, and we got total morons voting.
I think it's being run by Islamists.
Well, yeah, the Muslim Brotherhood. I still say Obama is an adherent to the Muslim Brotherhood. He's their plant. But you know what got me mad? I really actually research stuff. People don't believe it. I'm a trained investigator. George Bush was the first person to put Muslim Brotherhood people in the government. And when I heard the other day that Trump says he's going to declare them a terrorist organization, oh, great, because we can arrest now about 1/3 of our government because they're all Muslim Brotherhood adherents. So anyway, I hope he cleans the swamp like he said, or drains the swamp.
Got to drain the swamp.
Yeah, I hope he does. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I was a Ted Cruz man, 100%. And now that I've seen what Trump's doing, I'm shocked because I didn't believe he was going to be this good. And one last point, I give to your mentor, the Reverend Ewell, monthly. I donate monthly. I haven't sent you guys a penny. When I get off work today, I'm going to set up a monthly donation to you two. You do a fantastic job. I love you guys. Oh, I happen to be white, by the way, and I happen to appreciate black brothers who are conservative. I don't know how that can be. I'm a racist son of a gun. But anyway, God bless you guys, and I look forward to my checks.
Okay, and Happy New Year, and let's give them you know what.
All right, take care, brother.
All right, take care, brother. All right. Here, did you want to get a couple of the sound bites here? We don't have but a few minutes here. Who did you want to go with first? Well, how much time do we have left there?
Don't we have the good doctor on there?
Dr. Carson?
Yes. Don't we have
Okay.
him?
Yes. All right. So you want to play a little bit of Dr. Carson?
Yeah, I would like to hear him.
All right. Go ahead. Okay. So want to just set up the here. Dr. Carson was asked a question by Senator Brown from Democrat from Ohio, and Dr. Carson explained what his position is on rights. You know, once Democrats have to go through all that oligarchy. You know, meaning that all the hyphenations. You know, you're going to protect all these different fringe groups. Can I put a note in real quick, Phil? Whatever happened to natural law and natural rights?
They effectively banished it from the Constitution.
I mean, he named all these, and so here, Derek, if you don't mind, I can go on this. Go to soundbite number 4. We're gonna play a little bit of Dr. Carson answering the question about how how Dr. Carson is going to handle his position, and this is how he answered.
Do you believe that HUD has a duty to take actions that promote equal access to housing opportunities for LGBTQ people?
If confirmed in this position, of course I would enforce all the laws of the land, and I believe that all Americans, regardless of any of the things that you mentioned, should be protected by the law. What I have mentioned in the past is the fact that no one gets extra rights. Extra rights means you get to redefine everything for everybody else. That to me doesn't seem to be very democratic.
That's what we're talking about.
Okay, and that's all he explained. Yeah. Extra rights, and that's what they want extra. And really, the Democrats have given all these different fringe groups extra rights.
Yes, and it says in the 4th Article 4 of the United States Constitution.
Okay.
It says, Article 7, the last and shortest of the Constitution's original articles stipulated that the Constitution, before it could become established as the law of the land, must obtain the consent of the people by being ratified by popular conventions within the several states. Additionally, as it required the ratification of only 9 unanimous consent required by the Articles of Confederation, the Constitution was more Republican as it protected the majority from effectively being ruled or held captive by the minority.
Wait a minute, Phil. You saying that this is not a democracy?
This is absolutely not a democracy.
And the kids on the street right now that's trying to ratify through their revolution this change, I don't know to what, because we have the best form of government
Socialism,
ever on the
planet. That's where they want to go?
Well, you know what? We did hear Kappa Knucklehead say that he liked Cuba's, that they have free school because everybody just get one book, and they have free health care, and they get an aspirin.
Yes.
That's their free health care. You get an aspirin. Their free education is you get one book per family.
And I think that they also might throw out a few Ritalin pills too. You know. But see, the thing is that this is they want to really give Trump and people in his administration this title of being fascist, being Nazis, or whatever the heck it is, racist, and all of this. But these people are constitutionalists. And people said that Donald Trump wasn't a constitutionalist. But what did he do? He picked a bunch of people that were constitutionalists.
That's
and
right.
boy, I'm telling you, it's going to be a ride that I'm going to get on, and I'm going to buy a family-sized ticket, and I'm going to ride till I sweat.
Yep.
So I'm telling you, man, this is going to be exciting for once. We're not going to be hearing nothing about compromise. It's confrontation. And that's what I'm after. You know, because I'm telling you, we've got a beautiful country. We've had a beautiful country for many years. You know, and we've welcomed everybody. And yet and still, you know, they want to push us out. Folks, we will be back next week with more of the best
The Abolitionist
that we
Round
can
Table
get from that
invites the
Constitution.
Talk 1600 listeners to continue the roundtable discussions by mailing correspondence to Art of Michigan, Post Office Box 135, Garden City, Michigan 48135.
Or follow Phil Delanjanis at artofmichigan.com. You can also send emails to artofmichigan@hotmail.com. And most of all, continue to listen every Saturday and tell a friend.